My family's all Texan.
Friendly.
Yeah.
However, I'm an outdoors guy, and every square inch of dirt is private property. You can't go.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah.
Good evening and welcome. Can I please get a call to order, please?
Mr. Halt,
Present.
Mr. Carlson.
Here.
Ms. Macronis.
Here.
Mr. Willard.
Here.
Dr. Lopez is absent.
Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
Move we adopt the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and moments of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up is item D, recognitions, Dr. Streeter.
You guys want to join me down below? All right. I was thinking I was going to say this is the best part of the meeting, but then I feel like that means it's all downhill from here. So I'll say it anyways. This is the best part of the meeting. We get to recognize a couple of our outstanding students tonight. So I'm going to ask if Kel Olson and William Perry will join me up front, please. And as they're coming up, Kel and William are Marana High School seniors, and they are National Merit Scholarship Program semifinalists. So I'll have you guys stand right here. Come over here. Balance it out here. So this evening, we would like to congratulate Kel and William on their recognition as they were named semifinalists for the 2024 National Merit Scholarship Program. The National Merit Scholarship Program is an annual academic competition among high school students for recognition in college scholarships. The scholarship program, which honors individual students who show exceptional academic ability and potential for success in rigorous college studies, began when approximately 1.3 million juniors in more than 21,000 high schools entered the scholarship program to compete for 7,500 National Merit Scholarships. More than 15,000 of the high scorers, which represents less than 1% of the nation's high school graduating seniors, qualified as semifinalists. And I'm standing with two of those right now. So only semifinalists will have an opportunity to advance in the competition for merit scholarship awards. Semifinalists who meet academic and other requirements will be notified in February that they have advanced to the finalist standing and will receive certificates of merit attesting to their recognition in the program. National Merit Scholarship winners will be chosen from this group of finalists based on their abilities, their skills, and their accomplishments. So tonight, please join us in congratulating both Kel and William on this outstanding accomplishment, and we all wish them well in their future endeavors. So thank you. I'm going to have you swing around. Do we want to, we'll put them in the middle? Yeah, it's going to be you. Let's make a pyramid. Congratulations. And this has to be yours. So join right next to Kel. Jump here, and Allie is taking our picture.
You all take one giant, I'm sorry, podium.
Right, stand.
There we go.
And parents got it. Too impressive.
That's awesome. I love it.
Let's hope we see them back in February. We're going to move on to item E, board communications. Board members?
Yes, Vice President Holt. I'd like to let everybody know what I've been up to recently. I went to the ASBA Law Conference up in Scottsdale. That was a great conference, and I had a wonderful time. I attended with Dr. Streeter, Miss Reedy, Mr. Golagowski, Miss Ensalada, and Hunter. I've been to the Gladden Farms Community Forum for the new Gladden Farms Elementary School that we are building. I attended the bond meeting regarding our bond that we had passed at the last election. And today I attended the Silver Bell program meeting. And I want to let everybody know some upcoming events that I would like people to be aware of. DeGrazia is having their 40th celebration on October 20th. And Roadrunner will be having their haunted house and trunk or treat on October 27th.
Perfect. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got a team of volunteers going to Quail Run this Saturday, 9 to noon. We're going to power wash the school, clean up all the trash, pick up all the rocks, and get some old paint off the sidewalk. So we're looking forward to that. Principal Zach's here. Get ready. We're bringing a team.
Anyone else? I just have one thing. Thank you for bringing the boot hat back, Mountain View. It was very appreciated.
Woo!
Yowzers.
Next up is remarks from the public, and our first speaker is going to be Sandy Folk.
Good evening, Vice President Holt, members of the governing board, Dr. Streeter, senior staff, and members of the community. Many of you already know me, but if you don't, my name is Sandy Falk, and I'm in my second year as a secondary instructional coach out of the Office of LLI and also Exceptional Student Services. However, instead of working at one site with all the teachers at that site like other instructional coaches, I get to work at Marana High School, Mountain View High School, Tortolita Middle School, Marana Middle School, DeGrazia, and Dove Mountain with our first and second year ESS teachers, special education teachers. Not only am I working with those teachers on moving their instructional practice forward, but also on all things ESS, such as IEP writing, compliance, running IEP meetings, and accommodating and modifying for students, just to name a few. During my tenure as MEA president, I always knew that exceptional teaching was going on in MUSD. However, now that I'm able to be in classrooms every day, I can attest to the work that our ESS teachers and the gen ed teachers that they co-teach with is nothing short of outstanding. With our ESS population growing, our system is being pushed to the limit. It seems as though we always have ESS openings that need to be filled. Right now, there's 4. I would encourage each one of you to shadow an ESS teacher for a day or part of a day to see the magic yourself as well as the struggles. I love what I do. I thought that I would miss being in the classroom with students every day, but it's rewarding in knowing that I'm impacting students in a different way each and every day. Thank you for allowing the district an opportunity to provide additional support like me to our ESS teachers in Marana. Thank you.
And we appreciate it.
Thank you, Sandy. Our next speaker is going to be Beth Levin. I think. Oh, perfect.
Hello, Superintendent, Vice Superintendent, members of the board. I really appreciate the time that you've given me. My name is Beth. I'm a Marana resident and a retired sheriff's deputy of 23 years and also a disabled Army veteran. I dedicated much of my life to the safety and protection of the people of Washington State. Now I'm here as a member of Gays Against Groomers because I'm concerned about the welfare of children in schools and what they're being exposed to through our rapidly deteriorating education system. Now, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody here. This is just information only. We must remember that the essence of education, especially in sensitive areas like sexual health, it is equip our youth with the knowledge and tools that they need to navigate the world safely and with respect for themselves and others. Offering detailed instructions on how to have gay sex or use a multitude of pronouns does not fall into that category. It doesn't help them understand the broader tapestry of LGBTQ identities or the rich history of our struggles and our achievements. I have lived and served in a world I've seen the worst of what happens when young people are misled, groomed, or lack the knowledge they need to protect themselves. Children's minds are like sponges, and depending on their age, they'll either accept information from authorities without question or gravitate towards doing something adults are telling them not to do. We have to be careful what we expose them to because this time in their life is so critical for their development. There are banned books which are a tool of gender ideology. And I'm concerned the very controversy of them is being used as a point of appeal for children who want to rebel by getting a hold of them. And as a gay individual, I can say that these explicit books do not represent the message or the values the majority of us in the LGBTQ community want to send. We seek representation, yes, but representation that's thoughtful, inclusive, and respectful instead of overly sexual and secretive.
30 seconds.
Our plea is straightforward. Let's make sure our curriculum provides the right knowledge at the right time in the right way. The gay community does not want to be represented by explicit details, especially when presented to young minds. There's far too much frivolous LGBTQ content in schools that frankly nobody needs to be a productive member of society. Isn't that the first and only purpose of the education system? To prepare our kids for members of society. Just look at the test scores. Look at the mental turmoil kids
That's
are in
time.
these days.
I'll give you a few more seconds to finish up, though.
Okay, are we really helping by providing excessive LGBTQ content? Part of that might involve admitting our failure to recognize that our education system is heading in the wrong direction. So let's work together to make our schools a place of learning, respect, and protection of all students and not just some of them. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Oh, wrong button. Thank you. Next up, we have Megan Hawks.
Good evening, Vice President Holt, Governing Board members, Dr. Streeter, members of the senior staff, and members of the community. My name is Megan Hawks, and I am a teacher at Torrelita Middle School. I teach 7th grade social studies and the gifted elective for the 7th and 8th grade students. I wanted to talk to you about a recent competition that multiple GEM students were a part of across the district. It was a competition called Kidstruction, where students had business cards and toothpicks and a 12 by 12 inch foam board, and they had to try to build something. This year's theme was We Are the Champions, so it was all sports related. And out of all the schools that competed, I think if I remember correctly, there was about 17 schools, hundreds of students who competed. 6 of Marana schools won at some level. We took home 8 of the 15 trophies. Coyote Trails actually swept first, second, and third for the category of Are You Ready for Some Football? Picture Rocks got second for America's Favorite Pastime. Twin Peaks got second for On Your Mark. Dove Mountain got second, and Ironwood got third for Faster, Higher, Stronger, Together. And then Torrelita, my own students, got second place for Nothing But Net. And this was the first time that I had actually had my kids enter the competition. So I was like, yay. But I just wanted to recognize those students. I don't know all their names and everything, but I do want to recognize the students, the GEM teachers for those schools, and just how well Marana represented everyone. The displays are on at Park Place near round 1 up until Sunday, October 8th. So this coming up Sunday, when they've asked for us to make sure we pick them up. So I invite any of you guys to go and look at them. Ribbons are on the ones that won. It says what, and you can see even the ones that weren't Marana ones, just to support it. And hopefully, we continue this tradition and continue having Marana do very well in that competition. Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item G, superintendent's comments. Dr. Streeter.
Yes. Vice President Holt, governing board members, members of our audience. I'm going to start just by congratulating everybody on making it to fall break. It has been a fantastic first quarter, and I'm incredibly proud of our students, our parents, and our staff. We've really put together a strong start to the 2023-2024 school year, and I wish for everybody to have a very restful and rejuvenating fall break. Certainly everybody has deserved that. Also want to echo some of the comments that Ms. Micronis made in the past month. Had the opportunity to attend several of the same events, is what I'll say. The Citizens Oversight Committee with regards to the passage of the bond, Proposition 491. I just want to commend Mr. Contorno with his presentation to our community on where we are with the bond sales, where the bond dollars have gone, where the projects are, and really providing our community not just an update, but also kind of a roadmap of where we're going next with some of those projects. Also had the opportunity to attend the Gladden K-8. This is the new K-8 going in the Gladden Farms community. Our community meeting was back on September 19th. We had a nice turnout, got some really good feedback. We've been working with the architect and contractor in the pre-design phase for that. And a lot of the feedback that was received during that meeting has been put into some, I guess we'll call them pre-drafts, some different options for what that building might look like. Our next community meeting for the Gladden Farms new K-8 is on October 17th. So if anybody's interested, please check our website for more information or plan on joining us at Marana Middle School on the 17th of October. And then also today we had the opportunity to go through the Silverbell property, the programming workshop for the new high school programming that will be run out of that building. This is really an early stage in the planning for that process. I want to thank our staff that was on hand. We had several administrators, IT personnel. I want to thank our parents. We had a nice representation of parents at that meeting. I want to thank Ms. Micronis, who represented the governing board at that meeting. Really had a nice kind of jump into think about if the question was, if you could design your perfect school, what would it look like and what would happen inside that school? And that's really what that conversation was about today. So I'm looking forward to continued work on that project. And with that, this concludes my report for tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Streeter. Next up is the consent agenda, item H. Can I get a motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
Is there any questions? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
I just want to read the donations and thank everybody for this. Coyote Trail got a donation from the Melvin Rossmeyer's Trust for $1,000. DeGrazia got an anonymous donor from the New Life Bible Fellowship, $2,500. Estes got a check for $500 from the Alive Church. Estes got a $500 check from Jim Click Automotive. Estes got a check for $500 from Derek Nelson. Estes got a check for $500 from the Kenny Exhaust Works. Estes Elementary got a $500 check from Jane and Kevin Leadham. Estes got another $500 check from Miranda Stockyards. Estes got one more $500 check from Trident Seafoods. And Estes got another one, $500 check from Discount and Free Banners. And Quail Run got a $2,500 check from an anonymous donor from the New Life Bible Fellowship. And I think I say this for all of our board members. We thank you for that sincerely. Next item is going to be item I. There's a none unfinished business, excuse me. Next up is J, new business. And we have Mr. Contorno.
Thank you. Tonight, I'm going to be presenting the annual financial report. Waiting for it to come up. Can't blame me for this technology. Hallelujah. Yep, in this presentation, I plan on speaking directly to the report, kind of as an overview of it. And then what important comes out to me is this percentage of dollars spent in a classroom, which is the Auditor General publishes kind of where are we spending our money in relation to other districts. But this will be just our district. It's details of all financial budget information, including balances that we're carrying forward, revenues and expenditures. It's due October 15th annually, but it really depends upon, obviously the timing of a board meeting. It's audited by an external firm, which is our Heinfield and Meach team. Its primary use is federal and state governments use it for comparative analysis between different districts. It includes the annual financial report, the classroom site fund narrative, results-based funding report, and then a food service AFR. Some of the highlights that I like to bring up is our maintenance and operation fund. And this was a question, it's $102 million, just over $102 million. You may see on page, I think it's 1, where it says $100 million. There's actually a transfer to an energy savings cost that I consider an expenditure out of M&O, so that's why it's a little bit different. I guess it's page 1 has the 102. Page 2 has the 100,000. But irrelevant to that, our M&O carry forward shall be $4.3 million. Classroom site fund, which is, as many of us refer to it as Prop 301, because that's what it was when it passed, was almost 10.8 million. District additional assistance, which is our capital funds, is 3.9. Auxiliary, our fees that are charged at the high schools, that's 1.4 million. Student activities, I always bring this up. It's just under $1 million is our student clubs in their activities. If you include, and this is kind of an exaggerated number because some of it is debt service, but every expenditure made in the school district was over $165 million this year, which is mind-boggling. But then let's get into the classroom site fund report by function, which really shows you that what people concentrate mostly on is that instruction and one, oh, that didn't print up on there, which is 56%. I like to talk about student support and instruction support and including that number in that because I think that's that's what we're actually spending in support of students. You can see that administration, which I'll break out in a different slide, is 9%. And how that 9%, because it's kind of a misleading number in my mind. And you got to remember, this isn't salaries. It includes salaries, but it's not just salaries. So when you look at central services, which is highlighted in the green, which is 3%, that includes our payroll systems. That includes our softwares for SACE, Synergy for student information. So it's not just salaries. 1% is central or general administration, and then 5% is general school administration, which again is not just the principal; it's their whole office and the cost associated with that. Those numbers are fun to look at, except for I think they really don't make much sense until you compare them to the previous school year, right? And you can see we stayed pretty consistent in what they consider when they look at classroom site reporting. One of the things that I think, because this is the one that kind of I look at and really kind of start to deep dive and give me a picture of what's going on with our budget. And I look at the fact that student support and instructional support both went up. And I sat with my business manager because I don't get too caught in the weeds with where stuff's coded functionally. But then we talked about instructional support student support, which was really skewed last year due to the fact that we had a lot of OTPT and actual student support type positions that we had to outsource because we could not find them, and it cost us quite a bit of money. So that skewed those numbers. She said the instructional support was actually skewed a little bit because of fixing coding from previous years. So it kind of, as we go forward, we always try to straighten out where we're coding people. So, but you can see nothing really took a dramatic turn for that's too alarming. that's my presentation on the AFR. If you have any questions, I'd be able to answer those.
Can we get a motion?
I move the governing board approve the 2022-2023 annual financial report and related submissions as presented.
Second,
Any questions?
I do. Okay, so when you were talking about the 102 million, you said that, and I don't remember your exact words, but about something about, I consider the energy to be an
Yes.
expense. Well, okay, but does the state?
Yeah, well,
Okay,
yes, and if you look at, it is a transfer out of M&O. So
Okay.
what I do is when each year I have to anticipate the lease payments for our energy savings programs. And you can see on that, it's just under $1.5 million is those lease payments. So almost the first dollar I spend out of my budget is to go fund utility projects that were paid for by reducing my utility cost.
right.
So if you look at page 1 is what I'm looking at it now. That's where that 102 million is, because they call it total expenditures and other uses.
Mhm.
But if you go to page 1, which just talks about expenditures, then that's the 100 million. So
Okay.
that's the difference.
Yeah, okay. Can you give an example of instruction support?
Yeah, instructional support, I won't go through all of them. I'll highlight social work, attendance, guidance services, health services, speech. Speech is one that we had to outsource a few positions. Occupational OTPT type stuff, that's in there. So that's student support.
Okay. And then, so classroom, compared to last year, we dropped by 1%.
Correct.
So can you explain why that is?
Yeah, I think there's some coding issues there. I think in general, though, we're talking there, and I haven't dove way deep into the number, but I mean, as attrition happens, right? New teachers come aboard from tenured teachers leaving. That could have some of the impact on it, but I have not dived really deep into it. And it's a percentage. The actual dollar amount went up.
Right.
I think it was over $1 million. So it was. So that's
But as a percentage
as
of the
a
whole,
percentage
it
of the
dropped,
whole.
yeah.
Yes.
Right.
It was
So the classroom expenditures, that's primarily salaries, right?
classroom expenditures. Yes. Well, I mean, I would say 85% of that classroom expenditure.
Right.
I mean, there's supplies, obviously. In their numbers, it could be equipment that was purchased for classrooms.
Okay.
But I would say 85% of it is
Yeah.
salaries and benefits.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you.
I just have a quick question. Are these percentages out of the 133 or they out of the 165?
The 133, the 160.
133.
Yeah, well, I mean, the 133 is less debt, it says on there.
Yeah,
It's less debt service.
it's without the bonds and everything. Or is that
Yeah,
with
and
the
without
bonds?
bond, they do not, because I mean, obviously, those numbers will get way
Yeah.
skewed if we put a new building.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
so everyone heard that. And then with the administration, can you just separate so everyone can hear what general administration and school administration is specifically?
Yeah, so school administration is obvious, it's principals and principal's office, right? And it's assistant principals. Like I said, it's not just salaries though, right? It's anything in there, maintenance agreements and supplies for the school. We personally have worked, or I don't know if it's personal, as a district have worked quite hard with our principals to show them that the importance of coding stuff properly, because in the old days, we would see like major purchases made out of 2400, which is school administration, and then I'd show them, here's the ramifications of not coding it correctly. It would make our numbers look dramatically different. Central administration is what you said?
Yeah, or general. Yeah.
General?
General or central? I mean,
Well,
it's-
central would be anything in the 2,300 or 23, which is governing board.
We're not paid,
You're not paid.
right? So
No.
let's just.
Yours
that
would be
out
a
there.
very low portion.
We'll
of
double
it.
your salary
Right.
next year. So.
But you're not free. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
No.
But then it's general services would be finance. It would be purchasing. I'm looking at printing. I'm looking at planning and research. That's an old one. Public information, personnel services, technology. Those are the type of things that are in general administration. And then the only thing that's in what I would consider central would be superintendent's office.
Perfect. That's all I had. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Dr. or Mr. Contorno. Next up is Ms. Linsalata.
Good evening, Vice President Holt, Governing Board members. Tonight, we bring before you the Memorandum of Understanding between the Marana Unified School District and Wheel Fund. Naya Prasad is the president of Wheel Fund. She's here to answer any questions you might have. The purpose of this agreement is to provide curriculum, mountain bikes, helmets, hydration packs, and other cycling-related equipment to youth enrolled in the Marana Unified School District. Fund will retain the equipment ownership, and this memorandum of understanding has been approved by the district's legal counsel. What questions can we answer for you?
Can I get a motion?
I move that the governing board approve the memorandum of understanding between the Marana Unified School District and Wheel Fund.
Second.
Questions?
So, I didn't look closely enough to see your name at the bottom of the document, and even if I had, I would not have connected the dots there. So it's very interesting. So I guess to the question that I had asked before, prior to the board meeting was, okay, so who pays for all this? And the answer was that the school district isn't paying for it. So how are you funded to buy bikes and all that equipment?
So we have partnerships, several partnerships. We write grants regularly. Fiesta Bowl Trek is one of our sponsors. We go out in Arizona as well as outside of the state to gain funding for these bike programs to be in rural areas as well as more heavily populated areas. Originally, Wheel Fund was started in the Verde Valley. I was on the board there for 2 years, and then I accepted the job here. I said I would like to retain president and ownership on the board, and they said, well, you're living in Marana now, like how is this gonna work? They did, we as a board decided to drop the Verde Valley out of the Wheel Fund, and so that created the opportunity for us to go statewide. So our goal and mission is to grow not just in Pima County, but all areas of Arizona, including some of the Native American reservations, to provide bicycles, helmets, hydration packs. Some areas also have asked for trailers and huck wagons to drive some of the bikes we've donated so that students can participate in races and things at other events if they are not in a distance that can easily transport bikes. So it's a lot of fun. I just do this on my free time. I don't get paid. None of our board members get paid. But we like to make sure that we're working with local communities, not just the schools, but also working with towns to help promote biking in Arizona and land stewardship and healthy and safe avenues for kids to enjoy the outdoors.
That's awesome. So are the bikes and the equipment, are they given to people or are just loaned out?
So we retain ownership of the bike. So for example, we do give the bikes to the schools. If any of the bike needs repair, they will contact us. We will collect the bikes, we'll repair them and bring them back. If at any point there's change of a principal or an administrator or they can't find a coach, we'll be like, we'll come pick up the bikes. It's okay. When you find a coach, we'll bring them back. So we take responsibility of all of the equipment and maintenance of them. So it's basically if there's a school that might have a 21st century grant or they have funds for an after school program, they can pay a coach and then we just provide all of the equipment. Sometimes we've asked schools for the number of bikes, and we just provide them for the kids, and they're like, wait, our coach needs a bike. So we're happily able to provide a bike for the coach. Incentives for coaches sometimes is if they can stay on the program for 2 years, they can keep their bike. And we do have a strong partnership with Trek Oro Valley to get high quality bikes for these programs. So Trek is our partner, and they will come and help us out.
Cool.
My big goal is, and I know Dr. Street and I have talked about this, we do also build bike parks. And so we have 3, we're building a third one up in the Verde Valley. And I have a vision to see how I can build a bike park in Marana.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
So how many bikes are related to Marana schools?
So
Do you
we
know?
have 7 schools participating in the programs. Like Dove Mountain's our biggest club. It was the first one we started with. They have 17 bikes. Typically, it's between 10 bikes per campus. And at Tortolita, we also started last year. When I started here, we started with Tortolita Roadrunner. And the Tortolita coach ended up going to Marana Middle and asked if she could start a bike club at Marana Middle. So we're happy to provide that. So we were just growing slowly. DeGrazia also started this year. Quail Run received bikes, and Picture Rocks will get bikes in the spring.
I think we should get Dr. Streeter a bike.
That's why he has one.
We pay him enough. He doesn't need a free one.
Hi, Naya. I just have one question really fast, just so it's on the record. So there's no salary, hourly pay, or stipend that you get from being the president? No? Perfect. Thank you. And I just want to say this. I've actually talked to Mr. Scafidi about this at Dove Mountain when I visited about a year ago. So it's a wonderful program. So I'm glad to see that. Hopefully this will be approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next up is J3, Ms. Linsalata.
Vice President Holt, Governing Board members, tonight I bring before you the discussion approval of the performance-based pay plan. As some of you may remember, last year we made some significant changes to our performance-based pay plan as a result of the negotiations process with Marana Education Association. We had a joint committee that reviewed and revised the plan. So there were very minor changes to the plan this year. The only changes that were made were to update our district areas of focus, which are to sustain efforts in HRS Level 1, safe, supportive, and collaborative schools, launch Level 2 of HRS, effective teaching in every classroom, and to continue our efforts with literacy practices. ARS 15977 requires that at least 70% of eligible teachers vote to approve the plan. The revisions were presented to MUSD teachers on August 3rd via an email from me. Teachers were then asked to vote to approve or not to approve. To date, 70.4% of teachers have voted to approve, 0.7% have voted not to approve, and remaining teachers have not voted. I have attached the performance-based pay plan for 2023-2024 for your consideration and approval. What questions can I answer for you?
Can I have a motion?
I move that the governing board approve the 2023-2024 performance-based pay plan as presented.
Second.
Any questions?
I don't have a question, just a comment. Once again, thank you for, changing it last year and then keeping it changed. And it's something that's manageable and achievable. And, there's not a lot of fluff in it. So this is, big improvement.
Any other questions? No. I just want this to be heard as well. So when an appeal may be filed, there will be no one from the campus where the appeal was originated from, correct? According to Section 2 of appeals.
Neither shall be from the campus where the appeal originated.
Perfect. Thank you. That's all I have. All those in favor?
Aye.
Last but not least, J4, retention stipends. Mr. Contorno.
Thank you. During the negotiations process with Marana Education Association, an agreement was reached to defer the decision about the first retention and incentive stipend until the governing board could be certain that the budget situation was sufficient to warrant the payment of that stipend. I guess I never put it. Yeah, right. Further, the agreement requires the governing board to take formal action regarding this decision prior to October 31st. That payment is made in December. I have confirmed that we have sufficient funds available to pay for the full amount of $500 called the first retention stipend to all eligible employees. This includes all employees who are issued a contract with the governing board. If you recall, support staff does not receive this stipend. As of a few years ago, we built that into their salary in order to combat minimum wage and also to try to get our wages to be more competitive. Furthermore, during meet and confer and negotiations, all employees agreed to receive a one-time stipend paid once in the fall. This is weird how it's worded. One-time stipend paid twice, once in the fall and once in the spring, utilizing Prop 123 monies and an allocation of one-time state aid supplement. It has been determined that these dollars should be enough to provide $2,000 this fiscal year. The district plans to pay the first half of the stipend, $1,000, to every employee based on full-time equivalency on October 20th of 2023. The second payment shall be made on March 15th and be determined as the budget is further finalized. We anticipate it to be $2,000. However, we're based on our funding is based on 100-day count. So I really need to be confident in how much revenue we really have. But we decided that looks like the number that it should land at, and we can make adjustments in the second payment. But we anticipate it'll be that. That is the two stipends that are in front of you. Both went through the meet and confer and negotiation process and kind of were expected. So I'm looking for your approval.
Can I get a motion?
I move that the governing board determine that sufficient funds are available to pay the first retention incentive stipend of the 2023-2024 fiscal year to all eligible employees. I further move that $1,000 be paid to all employees based on the FTE on October 20th, 2023, utilizing Prop 123 and allocation of one-time state aid supplemental monies.
Second.
Questions?
Just one. What is the source of the funds for the retention stipend?
The retention stipend is through our override.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Is that it? I have one question. Dr. Streeter, can you please clarify the $1,000 and the other $500 in the background so we can be on the same page?
Yeah, so there's two stipends that the board is voting on tonight. The first one is the retention stipend. That's the $500. And then when we come back, and then in the spring, if there's sufficient funds, we would do the second half of that. The $1,000 is part of the one-time state aid payment that we received from the state as a part of the state budget this year, as well as Prop 123, which are dollars that originated from the state land trust when we started pulling money from that. Those dollars will sunset in 25. I want to say it's 25. So you have 2 years of that. So treating that as another one-time payment. So again, $1,000 is the first payment for that. In the spring, we'll do the remaining amount for that, which should be about $1,000, hopefully a little more.
Perfect. No other questions? Can I get a motion? Or sorry, excuse me. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item is K. Any future requests for agenda items? Nope. Future meetings. We have one coming up on November 9th. It's a regular one here at 6 p.m. December 14th at 6 p.m. and then January 11th at 6 p.m. With that, can I get a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
All right, Tom, we'll get you a bike.